It began as an ambitious dream, one that seemed destined for global acclaim. Meghan Markle, once the darling of American television and then the controversial Duchess of the British monarchy, was now poised to dominate the streaming world. Her multi-million-dollar Netflix deal was framed as revolutionary. She would tell untold stories, champion unheard voices, and reshape the media landscape from her perch as both a global icon and an outsider who knew what it meant to be silenced. But beneath the sleek announcements and glossy marketing, something else was brewing. Quiet skepticism, private whispers, growing frustration from the inside. And now, that dream, the Netflix empire Meghan envisioned, was crashing down. Not with the explosive scandal of a cancelled press conference or a fiery courtroom battle, but with something far more chilling: silence. Quiet retractions. Quiet removals. And the unmistakable scent of corporate retreat. From the beginning, With Love, Meghan was designed to be her flagship. A reality docuseries that would blur the lines between entertainment, activism, and royalty. It was branded as personal, powerful, raw. But even as trailers dropped and early teasers surfaced, audiences noticed something unsettling. The format, the tone, even the structure, it all felt eerily familiar. Whispers began that scenes bore a striking resemblance to existing shows. MTV's The Real World, TLC's Say Yes to the Dress, Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. Reddit threads lit up. YouTube commentary exploded. And then came the breakdowns, side-by-side comparisons, timestamps, clips edited to show just how much of With Love, Meghan was potentially borrowed, or worse, copied wholesale. At first, Meghan's team laughed it off. They framed it as creative homage, a remix of pop culture tropes told through her unique lens. But the laughter faded fast when industry insiders began speaking out. Anonymous producers, writers, even former Netflix collaborators admitted privately they were shocked. It wasn't just inspiration, it looked like mimicry. Verbatim scenes, identical blocking, lifted dialogue. It became impossible to ignore. Netflix, once Meghan's most powerful ally, found itself in a PR tailspin. Their legal teams quietly began seeking external counsel. The risk wasn't just reputational. If Gordon Ramsay's team or Viacom CBS decided to sue, the damages could be astronomical. Lawsuits would trigger discovery, depositions, and the kind of press no streaming titan wants. And there was another problem: money. The show wasn't cheap. Celebrity guest fees had ballooned. Set designs had spiraled out of budget. And the reshoots required to fix even a few of the questionable scenes were adding zeros to the ledger. Inside Netflix, projections for Season 2 tanked. Morale around the project was sinking. Some executives reportedly pushed to pull the entire season before it aired. Not out of outrage, but damage control. Quietly kill it now, they argued, before things spiral beyond repair. But Meghan wasn't ready to let go. Publicly, she remained unfazed. She went on to announce the launch of her own content studio, privately funded, part passion project, part redemption arc. This new venture, she claimed, would uplift marginalized creators, redefine storytelling, and elevate authenticity in an industry obsessed with profit over purpose. The first rumored project. A docuseries about public adversity, with Meghan herself at the center. The internet erupted in disbelief. The irony was too rich. Meghan, accused of stealing creative content and ignoring warnings from her own staff, was now planning to make a show about surviving public criticism. Critics didn't hold back. Commentators accused her of existing in a bubble of delusion, surrounded by sycophants too afraid to tell her the truth. Former employees, speaking anonymously, confirmed that staff had raised red flags early in production. They warned her about the similarities to other shows. Those concerns were dismissed. Meghan believed her work was subversive, reframing reality television through a royal lens. The comparisons, she said, were not only intentional but trivial. But the public didn't agree. As the controversy gained momentum, the narrative shifted. This wasn't about a few lifted scenes, it became a symbol of a larger pattern. Meghan refusing to take accountability. Deflecting criticism. Playing the victim even when the facts said otherwise. The backlash snowballed. Former fans began to distance themselves. Viewership projections cratered. And finally, the hammer fell. Netflix pulled the plug. Quietly. No dramatic press release. No grand announcement. Just a subtle purge. Season 2 of With Love, Meghan was scrubbed from upcoming release schedules. Promotional material was deleted. Mentions of the show vanished from investor calls. When pressed, Netflix representatives gave a single vague statement. The company was re-evaluating future partnerships. No one needed further explanation. The message was clear. The partnership had soured. The trust was gone. This wasn't just a business failure. It was the end of a myth. Meghan, once seen as the voice of a new progressive royalty, now stood alone, her ambitions dimmed, her audience dwindling. The woman who once commanded global headlines with a single Instagram post now found herself speaking into a void. She continued to release messages through her personal platform, shared motivational speeches, posted curated articles, teased new ideas. But the excitement was gone. The media didn't chase. The public didn't care. Without the power of Netflix behind her, Meghan's megaphone had gone silent. And what's most haunting is not the scandal, but the slow unraveling. The way it all faded, not with fire, but with disinterest. This was supposed to be her era, a renaissance for a woman who had survived the royal family, who had escaped the tabloids, who had emerged stronger, freer, and ready to lead a media revolution. Instead, it ended not with betrayal from others, but from within. From blind spots. From unchecked ego. From a refusal to listen to dissent. From the inability to accept critique as anything other than personal attack. Her defenders argue she'll bounce back. That this is just a rough chapter in a longer heroic journey. But even they are quieter now. The headlines have moved on. Other controversies have taken her place. And Meghan, for all her talk of resilience, has never felt more isolated. The machine that once championed her, Hollywood, social media, progressive journalism, has gone cold. Not because she failed, but because she refused to acknowledge the cracks as they formed. She tried to outrun them, to dance past them with glossy branding and self-produced speeches. But cracks, ignored, become fractures. And now the foundation has collapsed. There will be no dramatic court battle, no closing monologue, no final tell-all interview to spin the truth. Just a deleted show, unanswered questions, and a growing sense that one of the most high-profile media experiments of the decade had imploded under the weight of its own contradictions. For Meghan Markle, the Netflix chapter was supposed to be a rebirth. Instead, it became a cautionary tale. A story not of silencing, but of self-sabotage. Of ambition untempered by accountability. And of what happens when the world you build on borrowed light forgets to shine on its own.